what I take away from it, guys, I take away from the fact that Jimmy Garoppolo, the $137 million man, he happens to be the weak link for this particular team because their defense is real, it's big time, it's legit. Offensively, they have some question marks. I don't think it's at the receiver spot. I don't think it's at the tight end spot. I don't think it's at the running back spot. I think it's at the quarterback spot. That's what I peeled from it.
Last night's game proved that the San Francisco 49ers are the best team in the world. That's what it proved in the loss. Now, I predicted they would lose this game. It was a game I felt could have gone either way. I was on the fence for a while, but in the end I thought Niners aren't going to go undefeated. And Russell Wilson is having an MVP year, and when it comes down to it, he'll make the play that wins the game. And in fact, that's what happened. But in order to get there, and I know they're at home, Stephen A., who's the best tight end in football?
Travis Kelce, but this kid Kittle's got something to say about that once he gets back
out. By the way, he sure does. I agree with you. Travis Kelce's won, but Kittle's coming for the throne. Didn't have Kittle. Then you didn't have Sanders. And receivers were dropping balls all over the place. In fact, the so-called interception he threw was in the receiver's hands. That's not on Garoppolo. Look, the Niners, without their best pass catcher, without their second best pass catcher, with guys dropping balls all over the place, still should have won the game. The field goal kicker should have hit that field goal. That's a very makeable, and he didn't come close. He never had a real shot on it, as it turns out. And even with all that, it takes Russell Wilson heroics in overtime to beat them. What that tells me, that the Niners' defense is ferocious. We know it. Garoppolo played well enough to win most games, just not against the MVP. Down weapons in overtime. If you're going to lose a home game, that's how you lose it to one of the hottest teams in the NFL, led by an MVP with, let's face it, a bunch of bad breaks. They should have won that game. They lost it. Hats off to the Seahawks and Russell Wilson. They did what I thought they would do. But the Niners proved last night they're the best team in the world.
I watched the game last night, and on that interception, the ball was high. Can we all agree on that? That it was a high pass, which created an opportunity for the receiver to miss the ball and then make a play. I'm not saying receivers didn't drop the ball. Second thing is, what Stephen A. just mentioned about these interceptions, that Jimmy Garoppolo was scared when he came out on the field in that possession. He was not ready for the moment. Booger and Joe Test talked about that specific time in the game and said, this is what everyone has been waiting to see, if Jimmy Garoppolo in this moment can beat a $137 million quarterback. And you get that this the best team in the world out of that?
Yep.
The reason why they're not the best team in the world, Max, is what Stephen A. just said. Their quarterback. We just saw Russell Wilson lift Seattle beyond a team that's probably better than him when you take it in totality, right? Russell Wilson lost Tyler Lockett in the game. Who's been the most prolific guy? Josh Gordon just stepped foot, and it was 2 third-down conversions that was huge by that quarterback. And you of all people know that in this league, when we start having Super Bowl conversations, it's going to be determined by the guy behind center.
Yeah, but you don't need to have the best quarterback to win. I'm not arguing Garoppolo's better than Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson,
he has to be better than the guy on the other side.
But no, you don't need the best quarterback.
The Rams found out last year. The Rams found out last year that you need the better quarterback to win the Super Bowl.
Or the better coach.
Well, let me tell you why you're wrong, Mac. I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, Max, and you don't even need to make this argument. You're absolutely right. You did pick Seattle to win this game. Why did you pick Seattle to win this game? Because you said somehow, some way, Russell Wilson would come through. He did come through last night. They did win the game. They did win the game. And you're sitting here talking about how San Francisco has proven they're the best team in the world, even though they lost. And the reason they lost is because they didn't have Russell Wilson. Seattle did. So your argument goes out the window right there. When we look at Jimmy Garoppolo and we look at what he brings to the table, he was tap dancing in the pocket. Booger McFarland and Joe Tessitore doing a great job calling the game, highlighted how he looked panicked. in the pocket.
Jadeveon
If
to do
we
that.
noticed it, wait a minute, if we noticed it, if they noticed it, what did you think Seattle did? Not to mention the fact, give Seattle credit where credit is due. I mean, you talk about San Francisco's running game, okay? And when I look at them, and I'm saying to myself, these brothers, their running game was basically neutralized. There was no running game to
There's
speak
a reason for that.
for San Francisco last night. So all I'm trying to say to you is this: Seattle might not have the defense San Francisco does, but it's tough enough, and they got Wilson, which automatically negates you from saying San Francisco has the best team in the world.
Look, Russell, Seattle is a Super Bowl contender because of the things you mentioned. But there's a reason that Seattle's defense, I think, looked in those pivotal moments like that. And it's not just Jadeveon Clowney's a beast. He is. It's that the offensive line for the San Francisco 49ers has been banged up. They're missing their tackles. They get their tackles back, but this is what happens with offensive lines at times. They're not in sync yet. So you have a just healthy offensive line not in sync against a defense that's playing well, led by a superstar
So
defender.
you're making an excuse for Jimmy G
for a reason.
That's what he's doing.
So you're making an excuse for so is that what you're doing? Are you making an excuse for Jimmy G? Is that what you're doing?
So let me ask you this. If they hit the field goal and win the game, are you saying any of this? So because of a missed field goal, now Jimmy G can't get it done.
No. See, that's where you're wrong right there. You're hard-headed. And obviously you don't listen with that big head of yours. The fact of the matter is that, excuse me, I pointed out the 2 interceptions that should have happened with KJ Wright and Bobby Wagner. I highlighted those, along with the 2 fumbles he lost. I brought that up before the missed field goal. And that kid McLaughlin, I was shocked that he missed it the way he did, because in regulation, right down the middle. I mean, not only did he hit it, it was right down the middle. So for him to shank it the way that he did in overtime, I was stunned by that. I didn't expect it to be that bad of a miss. My point is, I never brought that up. I highlighted en route to putting them in position to kick the field goals. These were not 1, but 2 mistakes Jimmy G made while flagrantly panicking in the pocket. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.